Hi there, it's Rob. Just a quick screencast to introduce to you the practicalities of recording groups and palettes onto the Cham Sys MagicQ. Okay, so start off with then, we've got, if we're looking at our patch window here, so I've opened my patch window up on the MagicQ. I've got 4 washes, 4 wash 250s and 4 spot 250s. So in terms of fixture numbers, my washes are 1, 2, 3 and 4, and my spots are 5, 6, 7 and 8. What I want to show you is how to start off with how to create some groups of those fixtures, and then also how to create after that some palettes as well. And we'll have a look at how the palettes work in practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up my palettes view. Now that's a standard view that comes shipped with the MagicQ with a new show. So if you hold down Control on the MagicQ, choose palettes, it will give you this little 4 screen set of tiles. And the first one here, which we're most interested in, is the group one, because the first thing we're going to do is record up some groups. Now my first group I'm going to record is for everything. So if I need something to apply something to every single fixture, it's going to apply to everything. So what I need to do is I need to select the fixtures. You can either select them or you can put them at full or something. You just need to get them actually selected in the programmer. So if I'll do my 1 through 8, which is all of them, and then I'll do at full. And what you can't see is in the programmer, there's my fixtures there at full. So they're at full and they're all selected and they're red in the programmer, which means they're actually activated at the moment. And you can see up here it says wash 1, 2, 3, 4, spot 5, 6, 7 and 8. So that's what's recorded at the moment. That's what's selected at the moment. In order to create my all heads group, I'm going to hit record. I'm going to type in the name, which is going to be called all moving lights, just for the sake of a name, and I'm going to hit the slot, and you can see there it says it's got a little 8 next to it, so that's the way I've created my first group. So now when I select that group, you can see now I have all of my fixtures selected. So the next group I'm going to create is just all my spots. So my spots are 5 to 8, so I'm going to do 5 through 8. And then I'm going to just hit at, which is the method of selecting the fixtures without setting them to an intensity. So I hit at twice. And that's going to be my all spot. So I'm going to go record, all spot, put it in there. And then I'm going to clear the programmer again, deselect the fixtures. And the last one is I'm going to create all my washes on a group as well. So 1 through 4, at, which is what selects them. Record, all wash, there. Now what I could do is I could create some subgroups of those particular fixture types. So I could say all of my stage right washes, for instance, my stage right washes are 1 and 2. So I could do 1 and 2, 1 plus 2, select my 2 fixtures. You see wash 1 and 2 are selected, record, stage right, wash, and then the last one I'm going to do the same for the stage left wash. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all my moving lights, I'm going to hit blue, and then if I just look in my little output window I've created, stick the intensity to full, you can see they're actually set to blue at the moment. And they're actually set with their colours set so that cyan's at 255 and magenta's at 255. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change these attributes so they get a colour that I prefer. Now, what we've got here, of course, is that the spots are fixed fixed colour wheel, and the washes are CMY. So actually, there's 2 different fixture types in that group. So, what I was suggesting to you is perhaps sometimes you need your fixtures to be on a per fixture type basis in a group. So this time I'm going to select all wash, it's going to hit locate, and then I'm going to choose the blue. And if I just open up my output, you can see that I've got my blue there, and then I'm going to change the colour by adjusting the magenta and I make it to sort of a light blue colour. In order to create that as a colour palette, what I need to do is I need to just hit record. I'm going to call it Sky Blue. And choose a slot for it. Now, the icons that are here at the moment are the ones that are created within the show file. You can actually change the icons for the ones you've created, but just for the moment we're just going to give it a name so we can see it happening. So if I then select my fixtures up, so if I just pop open my group window, do my all wash, and then I can set them to a different colour, set them to pink. If I set them to my sky blue, you can see they've been set to sky blue there. Now if I open up the programmer, you can see here that instead of my cyan, magenta and yellow being set to the values that were in the actual on the actual heads themselves, the colour palette, the colour aspects of this palette are set to what's called sky blue because that's the name of the palette. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to record a memory and I'm just going to call it sky blue again, and I'm going to stick it here, and then this is going to become my first cue. You see there's my cue there, and that's the sky blue in there. Now if I look inside the cue itself, can choose that, hit view cue, you can see inside the cue is actually saved as sky blue. The key thing to this is that if I use this sky blue throughout my show and then I needed to change it, I could change it back at the palette level, and then I would change every cue that contains that palette. So back to my palettes again. I'm just going to change this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all wash. I'm going to set it to sky blue again, just to prove it to you. Look, there it is, sky blue again. But I'm actually going to make a change to it. So I'm actually going to put some more magenta in it and make it a darker blue. But I'll make it quite a lot darker blue so you can see it. So it's quite a lot darker than it was. I can do record, hit the palette, and it says update palette entry sky blue, and I go yes. Now when I hit clear now, if I go back to my original cue, you can see that's been updated because the palette's being referenced rather than the actual physical colour itself. Now that's pretty useful on colour terms, but it's also seriously useful for stuff up here, for instance, where you might say on my all spots I'm going to put them in a particular position. I'm going to move them around on stage, and then I'm going to record that as centre stage. So I've got that palette then, so I can do all spot at centre stage in sky blue, in light blue, and then I can hit my gobo. And I can choose other things, other palettes, other beam palettes I've created. The thing that you might notice is because I've got my spots selected, the sky blue palette I created for my washes is greyed out, and that's because that palette doesn't exist for that particular fixture type. If I choose my washes, it comes back. Now you can overwrite different fixture types onto a palette, so I could create a sky blue palette for my spots and save it there. So you don't have to create a different palette for every fixture type, but that's basically what you'll be naming it. If it's going to be called sky blue, you'd need them all to be some kind of sky blue. Hopefully they'd be the same. With this, in this instance, the spots have got a fixed colour wheel and the washes have a CMY colour mixing as well as a fixed colour wheel, so they have slightly different colour systems. So hopefully that's been useful. So then we've looked at how to create groups by selecting the fixtures, putting them into the programmer, having them selected and then recording them as a group, and then we use those to pick particular attributes and save them away as palettes, including giving them names. Good stuff, I'll see you again soon.